Welcome, welcome, Political Drain fans and new people just joining on. I will not hesitate. I will not carry it on too long. Trump and the administration has just bombed Venezuela. We are, no matter what they call it, we just bombed Venezuela. I'm going to show you some reporting by Midas Touch. They've been on it for about an hour, and we're just now getting in. And of course, we have our own flavor of news. So if you're here for that, we thank you. But this is not a warning. This is not a test. This is not a drill.
Reporting by
There has been bombs by U.S. forces in the land, on land in Venezuela. You're going to hear words like invasion. You're going to hear words like regime change. And all of that will be in place of the real word, war. This is a full-scale war. This is by definition. Our bombs on their land is full-scale war. No matter what the response is from Venezuela, they can retreat, they can give up, and you will hear at that point it'll be considered an invasion or regime change. But none of those happen without war. So I want to make sure that that word is said because no one else will say it. But by definition, when you do what we just did today, right now, as you're watching this, we are at war with Venezuela, no matter their response.
Hey, Michael Mercado, you're not of Mercado Media, are you? Welcome. Yes, it's disgusting. Disgusting act.
I'm Joe Sargent.
Definitely not approved by Congress.
Definitely not approved by Congress. Nothing that he has been doing has been approved by Congress. So that also makes this an illegal war. So you're joining me with Lord Malcolm, the illustrious, the illuminated, the intelligent,
the tired,
Laura Malcolm. Thank you for joining with me. As long as you can stay, please do. And for everybody, I know that it's a late night, but this is one of those things that I could not wait for a video to edit. I'm going to show you some footage by Midas Touch. We're going to talk about what we're seeing, but I want to make sure because this is not being said by anybody. The words you're going to hear are invasion and regime change, and those are to be replaced, or those are replacing war. We're at full-scale war with Venezuela. And not just that, Laura Malcolm just told you that none of this is approved by Congress. In our Constitution, only Congress can approve war. Now, there is a 90-day, I believe a 30 or 90-day, depending on the circumstance, with which they can come and approve it, Congress. But they haven't yet. So as of right now, it is an illegal war. So much for the presidency of peace. So much for no new wars. So much for all the comments I got. Say, well, you must love the new wars. He said he's going to have no new wars. I'll refrain from calling you an idiot for believing a con man because the circumstances are just that dire that it no longer matters what you think.
Yeah.
We are now engaged.
Go with all of you that refuse to vote for Kamala because of Palestine. Fuck you all.
So much for that. So much for that idea. As of right now, we can no longer look back. So what we're going to do is show you what it is that I've been seeing. So you can see it for yourself. What shade is that? Here it comes. Thank you so much for joining us, Michael Mercado. We appreciate that. Here's the reporting from Midas Touch, and we have people looking, especially Laura Malcolm is looking at all other news sites at the moment. We will have other things to bring you. This is the latest.
The United States has currently launched a full-scale The United States has currently launched a full-scale invasion of Venezuela. What you saw right there was bombing by the United States military of the Carlota Air Base in Caracas, Venezuela. We're getting other footage as well of this full-scale military invasion by the United States and the Trump regime against Venezuela. Here you will see dozens of helicopters with the U.S. Army spotted over the capital of Venezuela, Caracas. Let's play this clip right here.
Mocaí. Mira esa mierda, explotaron allá toda esa mierda porque tú no estás explotando. Mierda, marico, se prendió el peo en esta mierda, ¿oyó? Marico, llegamos a tiempo a la casa, ¿oyó?
Very important. It is very important that you understand the words that Midas Touch are using. I don't blame them for it. They're a very, very, very big organization, and they have a lot more to lose than I do. But I know that I'm speaking the truth. So I can use the words that they're not. When they say full-scale invasion, it is war. And tomorrow, when you hear regime change,
Here you will see some footage from a vantage point over the city. Credit to OSINT.
the words are war. All the other news stations will refrain from saying it, but I'm going to show you why I can say it. It's not regime change or just in a full-scale invasion. They're going as far as they can without saying the word war. But I can tell you that according to the United Nations charters that prohibit the use of force and the declarations of war may still occur in domestic law or as symbolic acts. That means when people say, I have declared war, or in a specific statement towards the people, that is a declaration of war, or the symbolic act of bombing a nation. Bombing a nation. Right now, Russia has not declared war on Ukraine, but it is a full-scale war, according to the UN Charter. That right now is what we have done to Venezuela. Do not let the other words, the platitudes, or the softening of the language fool you when they tell you about invasion and when they tell you about waiting for a response. No response is necessary. If Venezuela does nothing, all they've done is given up in a war, but it is still a war, and it is illegal because it has not been authorized by our Congress. Let us continue watching. It's important that you know that, YouTube. It's important that you know these words will be softened by bigger corporations, and I don't blame them for not using them. But I can also tell you, because I'm reading the charter here, I have it with me. This is, by definition, a war.
Defender for bringing you some of this, showing multiple explosions across the Venezuelan capital of Caracas. Let's play this clip right here.
No, marico, esto no puede ser en serio.
Marico, vamos a moverla.
Graba ahí.
Espera.
Marico, no puedo creer esta
Who the
mierda.
hell's gonna step in?
Marico, tengo el corazón frío.
Ya, marico.
Ya, ya mismo.
Marico, mi novia vive al lado de Fuerte Tiuna, bro. Sí, sí. Marico, me da un infarto en esta mierda. Marico, tengo el corazón a mil, pues. Allá también, marico, escucha.
What you got for me, Laura?
Muriéndose.
Can you hear it?
Vamos a caminar, vamos.
Multiple secondary explosions are seen right here, while flames and smoke emanate from the port of Caracas in Venezuela. Play this clip.
We don't need to see anymore, but we will, because it's important that we do not look away. When history is happening, it is up to the people to be the observers. We are the observers of history. We are the observers of history, and therefore the reporters of history. Not just me, not because I have a camera, but you. It's important that we see these things, because we'll tell our children what we saw when it happened, and it gets written down and memorialized. So it's not just gratuitous bombings that we're showing you for no reason. When history happens, we, the people in the present, are to be the observers. It is our duty. So we will observe this.
Here, what people are seeing outside.
Say it again.
Anya Costa says they upgraded their military arsenal through sending weapons to Ukraine. You got it?
Yep. So allow me to give you a timeline, another one that others won't give you, but I can guarantee you, not only because I have been proven right as of this day, but also because the facts align with my assessment. When the red carpet was rolled out for Russia, I said immediately afterwards, I'll stop. When the red carpet was rolled out for Russia in Alaska, Alaska was the worst place to do it. It was a kneel down because Russia believed that they owned Alaska. Then I showed you proof of how their media covered it. Russia is still telling lies to their constituents, to their people, to their citizens that they do own it. And when the red carpet was rolled out there, their people believed that Putin was going there and gaining it back for Russia. Of course, we know that's not true. It's ridiculous. That's not how it works. Unfortunately, immediately after he left, Trump talked about bombing Venezuela. And then Putin said, that's not good. We're not going to do that. You guys can't do that. And immediately I realized that something was fishy, simply because Trump has been genuflecting, putting on his knees and his kneecap and his what do you call it, knee braces, like you wear, right? His knee pads every time Putin says something. And there is no way on God's green earth that he would meet with him, and then immediately after meeting with his God King, say that he was going to do something that Russia said don't do. If you find that pattern to have happened any other time in Trump's history, you show it to me. Even our own defense agencies and our intelligence agencies were denied by Trump in Helsinki. He looked into the camera and said, even though the CIA and our own people say that Russia did this, Russia says they didn't, and I have no reason not to believe him. That's what he told them. Remember that? Right? So if you think on any way on God's green earth that he's going to say something after rolling out the red carpet, after just meeting him, that Russia said not to do, then you're fooling yourself. What happened after that was I realized, and I did some research, Venezuela gets all of their ground weapons, their tanks, mortars, armoring, from Russia. Russia is not getting money from the UN. Russia is not getting money from oil anymore.
Hey, Ollie.
Russia is not getting money from any of the places it used to because there's so many sanctions on them, and their stupid war that they have with Ukraine has depleted them in both manpower and dollars.
Yep.
Russia has told our president, who is now a puppet of Russia, to have a war with Venezuela so that Venezuela will continue to buy more and more weapons and fund Russia because they have no other way of getting funding. This may just be one aspect. There may be more that I don't know. They're guaranteed to be more than I don't know. I'm not a genius. I just know that much. I know that much. Coincidences don't work that way. We are now in a proxy war for Russia. We are now funding Russia. They're making weapons as we speak for the Venezuelan response. And Venezuela is an independent country. So what Putin's hoping is that he gets the response that he wants. He didn't get the response that he wanted when we were bombing boats for no reason. Venezuela said, no, we're not doing this. He didn't get the response that he wanted when he started taking over oil tankers. No longer it's about drugs, now it's about oil. Venezuela said, no, we're not doing this. And so when you don't get the response that you wanted, the weak president that we have, who's acting as a proxy for the Russian government, said, we have no other choice, let's just bomb them. Make them have to respond. And now, go ahead.
No, and they're on their own. There's nobody, no NATO coming to save their ass. So yeah, either they're in Nigeria, but yeah.
They're not a part of the UN does not recognize Venezuela as a member, as far as I know. If anybody knows different, please let me know. I'm giving you the timeline. I'm telling you what's happening so that when you hear otherwise tomorrow, you know that they're lying. It's important. It's important. And if I'm wrong, I will say so. And if I find myself to be wrong, I have no problem with it. All I'm giving you is the timeline. And if you cannot make that same assessment that I do, tell me what yours is, and I will listen intently.
Original one says he thought the oil Trump seized belongs to China, or am I wrong? Well, I think it was possibly headed there. And then wasn't there another one that he just stopped that was actually Russian or bearing Russian flags? I don't know. Hello, Bezer.
Right. So the oil tankers, no matter who they belong to, what they were doing was getting oil from. They were either bringing oil in exchange for or getting oil from Venezuela. There was a monetary there's a monetary exchange between Venezuela. So it didn't really matter who they belonged to. What matters is where the money was exchanged, and the money for the oil on those tankers was going to Venezuela in all accounts. Does that make sense? So the reason why we don't need any oil, but the reason why you stop them is because you're stopping the money. You're showing the who owns it, right? Whose money that is who owns it. The same reason why you bomb the boats. You don't care about those drugs. They're not coming to America. The point is, when somebody takes over an oil tank coming to us that we paid for, it's a declaration of war. If somebody bombs a fisherman outside of the Gulf and he's an American citizen, it's a declaration of war. The point of all of those actions was to get the response that you wanted. Because declaring war is going to be a lot harder like he's just done now, than it would have been if Venezuela responded and said, you know what, this is war. Then he would have an excuse. Russia would have their way. We would have our kids dying for a narcissist who doesn't think of anyone else as human but himself and people who he perceives stronger than him. That's who he respects, just like his father. Never showed him any love, and he thought that being strong meant being mean, greedy, violent, racist, fucked up. That is who he respects because that's how he grew up. When he was sent away. When he was sent away as a boy to military college, to military academy, not college, because his parents didn't want him anymore. He's still waiting for that strong man to give him a hug. And every other dictator on earth who's really strong realizes that inadequacy in him and uses it to their advantage. Venezuela now will be buying their weapons from Russia, have been buying their weapons from Russia. And not just that, they are the number one buyer, Russia's number one customer of ground weapons on earth is Venezuela.
Yep.
You know when I found that out? The day after the Alaska meeting. So if you find anything that I'm saying not to be true.
I actually heard that a little earlier than the Alaska thing, so yeah.
Wow. That's why you're the illustrious one. Let's watch a little bit more reporting. Let's be the observers.
Side of their apartments right now as the United States military invades Venezuela. Several explosions can be seen from this vantage point in Caracas, Venezuela. Play this clip.
This
Pues
is
llámame mamá.
not the same. It's true.
Vamos bien, Miche. Vamos bien.
I want you to imagine the person who's recording that right now in their home, not knowing where the next one is going to land.
No, it feels just like when Ukraine was first struck. It's just as big a hit in the gut.
More of our sons are going to die because of this. For no other reason than we have an idiot in the office who wants his ego stroked and who's being puppeteered by a madman across the damn ocean known as Vladimir Putin. He is now, when he is depleted, he doesn't have any more money or industry. His currency has been depleted. He can't even sell oil without losing money. That doesn't cost the price of oil has gone down, and it's his only industry left. And how much of it he needs just to support his military. He has nothing. Russia needed this war because it will be the money that sustains his war.
James Lewis says, we all knew this was coming. The Trump regime are criminals, and it's a great distraction from Epstein and the failure of the economy, among many other things. Yeah, well, it's the last resort of a failing president, to start a war. But he's
the difference is it's not a last resort and it's not a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Not that you're wrong. I hear you. But what happens is everything that he does is so horrible. It's all bad. The Epstein thing is bad, but this is real and it's not a distraction. This is him being led by the nose like a bull with a nose ring on by a foreign country. This is not just a distraction. This is something he's been trying to do. Maybe the timing is to distract us, but the event is not a distraction. This is planned, this is organized. He is doing the bidding of another country. We are a proxy. We are colonized. We are a colonization, a colonized territory of Russia as we speak, as long as he's in the office. Please remember that.
Air sirens are currently going off all across Venezuela as the United States military engages in this invasion of Venezuela, an unlawful invasion, I might add. Donald Trump does not have any authority.
Thank you for saying that, Ben Mysalis. Thank you. I said before that many people won't say that. He just did, and I give him the kudos for that. Let's not forget that Ben Mysalis just said the same thing. This is an unlawful invasion, but he will not call it a war yet. But it is a declaration of war by the treaty and by the charters of the UN that I just read to you earlier. This is not just an invasion. It's not just regime change. This is war, full scale war.
By the United States Congress to engage in this unlawful invasion of Venezuela taking place. You can hear the air sirens right now. Let's play this clip right here. There are also reports of explosions taking place at Isla Margarita, Venezuela's largest island in the southern Caribbean. You can take a look right here of what's going on. Play this clip.
Ay, mira, mamá huevo, ¿cómo estoy apretando? ¡Mamá huevo! ¡Uf! ¡Ay, mamá huevo! Erga, se metieron los de la USA, papi. Los que tienen 14 años son más grandes que Kenia.
Now there's footage over here which appears to show U.S. Army CH-47G Chinooks special operation helicopters, likely of the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, SOAR, soar over the Venezuelan capital of Caracas. Let's play this clip.
I need you to understand that these divisions that are going here are the same divisions where the leadership left because they did not want to follow the legal orders. I don't know who is in charge. I don't know who the majors and the colonels and the generals are of these divisions of the Air Force, the Army, and the Navy who are doing this. But they're not the ones who were there before. They have all gone because they too knew this was coming. And I cannot go without saying that they are too at fault for not letting us know this was coming. I know, as a military man, it's very hard to break with tradition. We're not supposed to get into these political things and we're supposed to be able to keep secrets, but daggone it. Don't write a book next year about it when you could have told us and warned us beforehand.
Ok, siguen las explosiones, se escuchan helicópteros, son las 1:58 de la mañana. Están atacando el fuerte Fiuna.
I see a lot of different sunlight. One is at dawn, some is at midnight. This is obviously over many hours. I'm wondering, Laura, if there has been any talk or any anybody talking about this in Canada? Has there been any reaction over these past hours that we've missed on the world stage? Which is why it's so good to have you with us during times like this.
Well, you know, it could you could have aimed for us, but fortunately, we're part of NATO and the UN.
Much.
Canada's response to the Venezuela crisis. No, that's from a while back.
You keep looking, see if you see anything from your news sources or anything live from Canada. What is that? CDN, Canada Daily,
CBC.
See if you see anything from there. I'll let this play for a little bit longer, guys. Luckily, we do have someone who lives in another country who can see news that we don't see if it's there. Stay with us, guys.
Here you'll see thick smoke rising from some sites throughout Venezuela as this invasion is underway. Here you'll see, as OSINT Defender explains, smoke can be seen rising from the site of several explosions, possibly the result of airstrikes near Fort Tayuna in the southern suburbs of Venezuela's capital of Caracas. Explosions are going off all across Caracas right now in Venezuela. This is absolutely horrendous, folks, as we watch this. And let me be clear again, Donald Trump did not receive any authorization from the United States.
And there you have it. We are in a full-scale illegal war with Venezuela, no matter their response. Their response does not dictate or indicate whether or not we are at war. What indicates that, according to the Geneva Convention and to the charters of the UN, which we are hopefully still a member of, is the actions that were just taken by bombing a independent country on their land. The fact that it was done without congressional authorization makes it illegal. They have 30 days. They have 30 days, maybe 90, depending on the situation. But they have 30 days, as far as I know, to go back and make this no longer illegal by authorizing it afterwards. That was a law put in place, I believe, dubiously by presidents long ago. I think it was put in place around the Bush era. And if that tells you anything about where we're headed when you're using that type of law, we should all be very worried and very upset about what just happened here.
Yeah.
I'm reaching out to people in the UK. We have with us Laura Malcolm from Canada, who's looking into news from from where she is.
Canada doesn't really have a 24-hour style news station like the US or other places, so I'm not seeing anything from us yet, but I've found from Australia and Euro News, and yeah, that's all I've found so far. And India News is streaming it live.
Let's see what you got. Tell me which one to put up. Give me a link. We'll see. We'll hear it from another country.
Okay,
again, well, yeah. While we're getting that link, I see a lot of stuff. Okay, good. I got you.
Private chat there.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I posted the Guardian article twice, though. The Australia one, I'm not sure if that's a YouTube or not. No, I don't think so. I think they're all.
I got you. I got you. I'm going to go with UK news. Let's see what they're saying across the pond, people. And I want to make sure we say this before I share this screen. I want you to know, so far, Ben Meiselas has called it illegal, but not a war. And I'm telling you now, it's imperative that you realize the words you're going to hear are regime change and invasion. Illegal. You won't hear on any of the other stations, but Ben Meiselas did say it. So I give him credit for that. But the word that they are watering down is war. According to the UN Charter, according to the Geneva Conventions, what we just did an hour ago tonight was full-scale war, a declaration of war without the words. According to the law, don't let them tell you anything else other than that. That is what's happening tonight. Let's watch UK news, see what they're saying.
I think it's just an article.
There's an article.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything live.
Breaking news: Venezuela's government accuses U.S. of attacking civilian military installations. Even they soften it. Accuses? We have the video of the bombs. President Trump ordered strikes on sites inside Venezuela, including military facilities, U.S. officials said, as the administration early Saturday ratcheted up its campaign against the regime. This is what they're calling a regime. Now, I'm not one for the president of Venezuela. I think that his term there is illegitimate, but they're calling them the regime. How dare you? They're the regime. The ones who we have been destroying their civilians on sea. We have been stealing their oil and their oil tankers, and they're called a regime. While this upright potato sack, painted orange, with a ferret tail on his fucking head, combed over, is called a president. I reject that.
Boom, furs,
He's a
stolen
murderer. Look at this. This is what they call accusations on Euro News. I'm not sure who the editor is, but I reject it. This is what they call accusations. Do you see it?
No, it's not showing.
Let's show it. I apologize. I'll show it again. This is what they call accusations. You see it now? This is what they call accusations. As the bombs drop.
Sources say.
This is sources say. This is who they're calling the regime, while calling the orange murderer the president, with all respect and honors. And these are the people who live there. These are the children and women and men who live there, who were bombed. Do not let them tell you the language of regime belongs to Venezuela, but the honors of the presidency belongs to the orange murderer in office. Do not let them change that language. Our time in history, our purpose in history, our duty in history is to observe the truth. And the truth is, The regime is here. The puppet of Russia is here. If you've missed why, you can rewind this. I've given the whole timeline. We are now simply a puppet, a hand of the newly formed Russian Empire. Welcome, comrade. This is our lot in life as Americans. This is who we are. Thanks, MAGA. No more new wars. Huh? Here's some more stuff picked up by our illustrious and illuminated Laura Malcolm.
Yeah,
As
really
she is,
much.
as she is going through, as she's going through the live streams from all over the world.
Samuel says you're doing too much. Who is doing too much?
Yes, I'm not doing too much. You're used to people not doing enough. Wake up. Wake up. I'll explain it again if you need me to. I refrain from saying anything really bad about you because you're just a watcher. So I will repeat it again. Immediately after the red carpet was rolled out for Vladimir Putin in Alaska, which is a territory that he tried to get, and in his own country, the citizens believed that they own it. Immediately after genuflecting to that dictator with the red carpet, he left. Donald Trump said, "We think we should bomb Venezuela." And Vladimir Putin said, "No, we don't agree with that." That was on purpose. From Helsinki until now, Donald Trump has never done anything that Vladimir Putin hasn't said is okay to do. Even when he turned against his own intelligence agencies. When they told him Vladimir Putin tried to rig an election, he had Putin there. He said he said he didn't do it. And I have no reason not to believe him. Except for the CIA, the NSA, except for every agency that literally was under him. But for some reason, he would go against Russia and say, well, even though Putin says don't bomb here, I'm still going to do it. No. What Putin needed was plausible deniability. That's why they had the conference in Alaska the day before he announced it. So Putin could say, I don't want you to do that, and he'll do it. And you're asking why? Why does Putin want us to bomb Venezuela? Well, because Venezuela is the #1 customer of all military equipment, ground military equipment from Russia. That's where they buy it from. Russia has no money. Russia's oil tanks are bombed by drones daily. The price of their oil is in the red. Even if they sell it, they're losing money on sales. The only way to make money to fund Vladimir Putin's stupid war is to sell more weapons to Venezuela. And the only way to make sure that happens is to have his puppets in America, us, bomb them and start one. If you have other information that disproves what I'm saying, give it to me now, and I will report it. Because I know that's the truth.
Sorry. Give Me a Break says on MS Now they're showing pictures of the explosions, showing pictures of the attack. Yeah, I just put a link to BBC Live in the private chat for you if you want to take a look at what BBC is saying as opposed to The Guardian.
All right, let's see what Let's see what BBC is saying then. I'd much rather hear it from BBC. Thanks everybody. We've got to thank Laura Malcolm for finding all. We've got so many sites from around the world. Thanks to her.
Yeah, I might not be able to stay more than a few minutes because I I already took my nighttime sleep time stuff.
Candidates in Honduras
good.
and in
Thank
Chile
you for being here.
resulted in
Give
their
me
narrow
much more.
victories.
Give
And
me
of course,
everything I need.
pressure on Nicolas Maduro
does
has been
have,
mounting for
never mind,
many,
doesn't know.
many months. So yes, there may be condemnations from even from the UN Security Council, although of course there the United States has a veto, and regional players could make these statements. But from what we are hearing, and of course we have to emphasize.
Let's find. Let's hear what the Guardian has to say. Did you hear that?
No.
Okay, she said Venezuela came out and said this is an act of aggression. No shit, Sherlock. The word you're looking for is war. And everyone is afraid to say it while watching the bombs. Everyone's afraid to say it. Venezuela didn't come out and say it's an act of aggression. And if they did, it's because they don't want to say the word war, but it's too late. According to the UN Charter, that's what this is. Right now, we're watching the Daily Guardian.
The Deutsche channel isn't live. Oh, there it is. It's live.
Deutsche channel's live.
Deutsche, hang on. I don't know if they're talking about Venezuela right at the moment, though. Doesn't appear to be.
Let us know. Oh, you can put it in there anyway, and I'll keep checking it. What you're watching now is repeats of bombs dropping in Venezuela by our president on behalf of the new Russian Empire.
Mierda, marico, se prendió el peo en esta mierda, yo.
This is what Trump said. No new wars. You're watching it. You're hearing the bombs dropping.
Mamá, huevo, ¿qué mierda es esta?
Who is DW?
Deutsche Welle. Deutsche Welle.
Deutsche Welle.
I'm not seeing AP live, so.
Thank you, Andrew McDonald. Thank you, Anya Costa. Thank you, Maud Kaneko. Thank you, Brina, for being here, for helping us report this news.
Thank you,
James Lewis.
Well, I'm going to call it a night.
Okay. Thank you so much for what you've done here.
All right. Well, I hope to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be here. The people who have to worry are all the way in Venezuela. I hope that somebody who has family there, who knows anybody there.
Yeah, I don't know anybody myself, but I'll ask I'll ask around to see if we can get somebody who has closer ties.
Welcome to the new America. Thank you. Good night, Laura.
Stay safe. Bye.
So we're going to go through. We're going to switch to different channels from around the world to make sure that we're not getting the spin.
Mierda, marico, se prendió el peo en esta mierda, ¿oyó?
Let's hear some Venezuelan TV. Hold on. Let's see what we have here. Venezuelan time is 5:02 and 45 seconds a.m. According to Venezuelan TV, they are saying that this is an act of aggression from the United States. They're refraining from the word war, but war is where we are. It's important that you recognize that the UN Charter, the words of the UN Charter declare that this is a war, what Trump has just done. And the fact that it has not been approved by Congress makes it an illegal war. Here we go. The fact that it has not been approved by Congress.
Oh, I think I'm getting another video in
makes it illegal
from Venezuela of that I'll have to show you in a little bit.
So we're going around. What I'm going to do is we're going to.
I may have another live shot too soon that I can get you as well.
The live shots are less important, although we are supposed to be observers. As we are in this time in history, our job is to observe, so we can tell others. Let's see what Australia has to say, and see if they're live at all. It's just repeats of the same bombings. I'm not going to be gratuitous and show those again. Allow me to read to you. Allow me to read to you. What's been said on the ground. Some of these planes may have been taken off from Puerto Rico. That's what he's saying. But more importantly, Carmen Hidalgo, a 21-year-old office worker, was walking briskly with two relatives returning from a birthday party. Quote, "The whole ground shook. This is horrible. We heard explosions and planes," she said. "We felt like the air was hitting us." That's what it feels under the pressure of an explosion. That reverberation goes out a very long way. Anybody who's been in war will attest to what those explosions feel like miles away. So far, there have been no reports of deaths or injuries. I expect that to change. I expect that to change. There have been 4 sites: LaGuardia, Caracas, Miranda State, and Aragua State. As far as we know, these are where military encampments or bases are located. But I don't believe that until I hear it from Venezuela, because our government lies. But that's what we have so far. Allow me to get you some more live updates. Let's see what the Euro News. I want to see what they're saying across the pond. Do we have a live feed from Euro News live? Let's see here. No, they're not. They're not covering it again. What they are saying is they want to spend more money on defense. America has just declared war on Venezuela by bombing them. We're going to find some more news. Let's go to BBC. Let's see what BBC Live has to say across the pond.
Of changing the regime in Caracas. This has been down to a number of reasons, not just the fact that the last elections were widely dismissed as being neither free nor fair internationally, but also the fact that the US administration has long accused President Nicolas Maduro of leading what they describe as an international drug trafficking criminal organization. Now, this is something which President Nicolas Maduro has always denied, but certainly that has been used as justification by the US to continue this military pressure, which is now.
While they tell you that President Trump has pardoned the biggest drug dealers on earth, the biggest, convicted, he's pardoned them. So this is not about drugs. The fuck out of here.
Resulted in strikes inside the country itself.
Ione, thank you. That's our South America correspondent, Ione Wells. Well, let's speak now to the reporter Ana Vanessa Herrero, who is in Caracas for us. Anna, just tell us what the situation is where you are. Anna, I don't know if you can hear us. Just tell us what the situation is where.
If anyone has family in Venezuela, anyone who comes from these Caribbean islands, I have family in Jamaica, and there's no real ties there. But if anyone has family in Cuba, in Venezuela, in Brazil, please let us know. Please let us know how they're doing, how you're doing. Please let us know where they're reaching out and how we can help, what they're saying and how we can share the news. If anybody is here and needs to know what's going on there, I hope we can get it to you as fast as possible.
There you are.
Okay, so right now it's 5 a.m. local time, and I don't hear planes anymore. I don't hear explosions. There are no reports of other new explosions or detonations, not in the eastern side of Caracas and in the center of Caracas or in other areas of Venezuela. There are no reports, so we cannot confirm that it's not happening. But I am not experiencing the sound of I'm not hearing the sound of planes flying over the city anymore. It all started. I started hearing the planes around 2 a.m. local time, and I heard a huge sound, a loud bang that moved all the windows, not only in my place, but around the area. And immediately after, I saw a huge smoke, a cloud of smoke, and that almost blocked the entire view, and a lot of detonations. And immediately after, a lot of people started reporting from different parts of Caracas, of the capital of Caracas, the same things that I was witnessing, the same reports, the same explosions, the same sounds of planes and helicopters flying all over the city. Now, we do know that the Venezuelan government, Nicolas Maduro, issued a statement, and the government confirmed that this attack was not only in Caracas, but in Miranda and Aragua, and also in La Guaira. So
these are 4 places confirmed bombings.
Aragua and La Guaira are very important locations in Venezuela. Military, they're very important for the military, of course, but in La Guaira, it's where the port and the airport are. And apparently, there are reports of the port of Venezuela being absolutely destroyed. There are several videos shared on social media that show a very popular street in La Guaira, in the port of Venezuela, and you can see the devastation, all the building of the port of La Guaira, absolutely destroyed, in the middle of the street. I can't.
Why is it so important that you destroy the ports? Many people can kind of figure it out, but in case you don't know, this is a military strategy to ensure that you can manipulate and control all ports of entry and exit. So you stop flow of ships coming in, you stop goods coming in. The next thing is bridges. You destroy airplanes, you destroy military bases, but you destroy ports and then bridges next, so that they have a hard time transferring weapons. This is a war. These are war tactics done by people who are taking the place of real generals and colonels who left because they did not want to do something illegal. The people who are left are Hegseth ball lickers. The people who are left in our military are performing for Putin. Venezuela is the #1 buyer of Russian war equipment, ground war equipment. Russia is sanctioned to all hell. Their oil is useless, priced out of the world. They can't get it. They can't sell it. And they're losing it by the day. Russia has convinced our orange president to bomb Venezuela to make sure and induce a war so they can be funded while the rest of the Europe has sanctioned them and they're broke. But thanks to America, we're going to keep them afloat with another little war and the death of innocent people because of it.
And confirm that image corresponds to La Guaira, but I cannot confirm that the extent of the devastation in the port of La Guaira. So far, we do know that several explosions and attacks happened starting 2 a.m. Local time. And now, again, 5:10 a.m. Local time, we are not hearing the planes, are not seeing the explosions anymore.
Thank you for giving us a really detailed breakdown of what the situation is in Caracas from the ground there. We know, as you said, that the Venezuelan government has announced a state of emergency.
Not.
What would that look like? What form would that take?
This is an illegal
and what
war.
difference would a resident there notice?
Well,
before we continue on, I want you to understand there's language that people will be using because these are gigantic stations with a lot of money at stake. I am just a little guy who has been in the military and doesn't know anything but what I know. And what I know is, according to the UN Charter, this is war, not an invasion, not an act of aggression, not a facility for regime change. These are the language. This is the words, the language you're going to be hearing tomorrow on all of the big stations. Facilitating regime change, invasion, aggression, act of aggression. These are all language meant to sugarcoat and water down the truth. This is a war. This is an act of war. We are now in full out war. And I don't say that just because I think it's that. I say that according to the UN Charter. Due to the United Nations Charter's prohibition on the use of force, Declarations of war may still occur in domestic law or as symbolic acts, particularly in conflicts involving smaller states or non-state actors. Declaration of war is what we just did to a smaller state by bombing an independent country, destroying their ports. So tomorrow when you hear from the pundits who are scared to say the words, when they say this is an act of aggression, and when Venezuela responds like they have already reported that they said this is an American act of aggression, they use those words because the word war is scary. When they say that this is an invasion, a full-scale invasion, replace the word invasion with war. The president of No More Wars has now just put our children, our 18-year-olds, our service members into a full-scale war, despite the response from Venezuela. The response is not necessary for that word to be used. That's the language of the UN Charter and the Geneva Convention. What makes it worse is this is an illegal war because only Congress can authorize it. And Congress has not authorized this. Let's hear what else they have to say. As a matter of fact, let's see if we can find something from Deutsche Welles. See what they have to say. I want to give you news from around the world so that you're not just getting it from us, from the US.
Washington has had in place for some time, both under President Trump's first term and now under his second. And it does begin to really look like this is what's taking place. We've already heard the Venezuelan government put it in very stark terms as in violation of the UN Charter. As you say, they will have to wait for Washington's official response still to emerge later in the morning.
Will, as you say, Anna, the report.
Thank you for the news. Thank you for Deutsche and BBC. As I said, this is the UN Charter definition of war. This is an illegal war. Whatever they tell you tomorrow about invasions and regime change and facilitating regime change and acts of aggression, replace those words with war. That's what this is. Thank you.
Reporter in Caracas, whom we spoke to earlier, said that this seemed to take residents in Caracas completely by surprise, despite the build-up of tensions. How significant is this latest development?
And I can imagine how that would be the case. I lived in Venezuela for several years, and despite tensions rising, I lived there during the time of Hugo Chavez, Nicolas Maduro's political mentor. Tensions would rise with Colombia, for example. There was conflict, and you thought something. Not sure exactly what that something would be, but that something was going to happen. And despite all of this stuff, normal life would just continue and continue and continue. And friends and journalists in Caracas have been telling me that that is the case here, even with all of this backdrop, with the escalating tensions with Washington. Normal life has continued. But of course, now it's turned a very, very significant corner. But I can completely imagine how they were caught in real disbelief. And I think what happens now is really, you know, the entire nation needs to sort of wake up the next morning, work out how significant this was in terms of harming those military installations, what it means, and of course, you know, what the response is here in Washington.
We know that there are many Venezuelans who would like to see regime change. Is there a risk that this military strike that we believe to be carried out under the orders of President Trump might harden their feelings towards the US?
it could have the reverse effect that it's intended to, right? So, of course, the idea is that this would be sleek and surgical and sort of have the effect that the Trump administration would like, but it may not go that way. It could have the effect of hardening positions.
Miles
it could
680.
entrench
You're
Nicolas Maduro even
correct.
further in power. He is very well protected in all senses of the word, both in terms of the people around him, in terms of his own security detail, but also in terms of his military support. For many years now, I think it's been the desire of Washington to see the military sort of turn on Nicolas Maduro and somehow remove him from power, you know, without Washington's hand being involved. That simply hasn't happened. The argument is, from Washington's point of view, that hasn't happened because they too are compromised by drug trafficking. That is part of the key allegation that Washington makes against Nicolas Maduro, that he is somehow the head of a cartel as well as the president of Venezuela. They say he's the head of the Cartel de los Soles, the Cartel of the Suns, a sort of shadowy organization made up of former and current military officials. The very existence of that organization, there's a lot of doubt sort of cast on that by drug war experts. But there is deep collusion and involvement with this government with organized crime.
Shut up! People, before you listen to this, I have something to show you. Before you listen to how we're bombing a sovereign country because of their ties to drug trafficking, I have something to show you. And it's just going to be a list. Here it is. Trump pardons Baltimore drug trafficker who ran multi-million-dollar ring. Trump pardons former Honduran president who trafficked 400 tons of cocaine to this country. Trump pardons major drug trafficker. Trump pardoning notorious convict. If you still think this is about drugs, think again. Think again. This is the special one. Trump pardoned Silk Road dark web market creator who trafficked drugs online. These are all different. If you pay and you give Trump money, the drugs don't matter. Do not let them tell you that this bombing and war that our children will go to and die for in a foreign land that's got nothing to do with us is because of drugs. Don't let them fool you. It is not. I have more if you need it.
Of course, the Venezuelan government denying all of that, saying that all of that is basically a pretext for Washington to take control of Venezuela's oil reserves, which are the largest proven oil reserves.
I don't like Maduro. I don't. I think he's there legitimately. But I will take the word of a fucking snake before I take it over this government run by the Mussolini of Mar-a-Lago, by a liar in chief, the narcissist, and sociopath. I will take any, you have to prove it to me. You do not get the benefit of the doubt anymore. America, our government, we will fight. We will observe this. We will be the observers in history of this.
In the world.
And if we look at the immediate impact of these strikes within Venezuela now, Will, we know that the Venezuelan government has declared a state of emergency or a state of commotion, as they say, and no civilians are allowed outside. How unusual is that for civilians within Caracas, or is this something they may well be used to because a state of emergency is not unheard of there?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very militarized government with elements of a police state at times. So the idea of military control of public plazas and public spaces is something that Venezuelans have been through in the past in modern history. Nevertheless, the idea that this is happening within the context of airstrikes, apparent airstrikes on military installations is very, very different. And I imagine huge numbers of Venezuelans right now are feeling very frightened, very concerned about what the future holds and about what will happen to, quite frankly, them, their families, their children's schools, and so on. Now, for the time being, the moment has passed, but it's very hard to know if it's just passed temporarily. I'm in touch with Venezuelan journalists who say sort of a strange calm has returned to the city, but it's sort of in the wake of everything that's happened. They don't know if it's going to hold, if it's going to last, if things will happen again very shortly. It is a very, very uneasy calm in Caracas at the moment.
Will, I just want to pause there to bring some breaking news that has come from the news agency Reuters. They are saying that President Trump has said that the United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader. This has come from a social media post by President Trump. He says, and I can read you the full post now, the United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with US law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. That just come in from President Donald Trump's social media post. And of course, this is a significant development. I'll just repeat that to you because this is a significant development on the situation that we have been seeing in the past couple of hours. This development that President Donald Trump has posted on social media that the United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with US law enforcement. So that news breaking just in the past couple of minutes.
What does US law enforcement have to do with capturing another country's president? I am floored at the lawlessness that we're dealing with. Happy New Year. All the people in my comment section for the past year who've been telling me that the thing they voted for was no more new wars. I'm waiting for you to backtrack. And lie again. Why this one is okay. And as we have to say, if you think that this is going to be easy, like Bush thought it was going to be easy, shock and awe, bullshit. Wait till our kids start dying over there for the oil and the minerals for Russia, not even for us. The president of peace will be the president of your kids in pieces when they come back with a flag draped over the coffin that I've seen too many times. I will not wait for your excuse. Then.
Significant development. Let's discuss this further now with our correspondent, Will Grant in Washington. Will, the first confirmation of this from the White House and a significant announcement.
Huge news for Venezuelans, for Latin America, for Washington's relationship with the Americas and the Caribbean. One thinks of Panama in 1989 when the US invasion removed Manuel Noriega from power, who was also accused by Washington of being a drug trafficking president. This is at that level. If this indeed has gone the way that Donald Trump is saying it has gone, then the capture and removal of from power of Nicolas Maduro and his wife, the First Lady Celia Flores, is nothing short of historic in terms of modern Latin American history. Nicolas Maduro was the anointed successor of Hugo Chavez, the Venezuelan.
He has just kidnapped the president and his wife of a sovereign country and flown them out of their country. I believe that they rigged that election. I believe that that country needs a new leadership. I also know that it's not our right to kidnap the leader. It is against the UN charters. This is against the Geneva Convention. This could start a world war. It will not, because no one cares about brown people. So it won't. But this is illegal. In America, it's illegal, against the Constitution. It's not sanctioned by the Congress. Around the world, it's illegal. It's against the Geneva Conventions. And amongst our allies, it's illegal. It's against the UN Charter on all rights, in all places, in every jurisdiction. This is illegal.
The leader of the socialist revolution in Venezuela, who was thorn in Washington's side throughout his time and who came to a very early death through cancer. He chose his then foreign minister, Nicolas Maduro, to be his successor, who has proved himself to be very, very resilient in the face of pressure from Washington until, it seems, this point. And so it is extremely significant. Obviously, there is still more detail to come from that presser in Mar-a-Lago later today. But this is
the main problem is, because this guy is a president, we still have to wait for him to talk, even though we know every word out of his mouth is a lie. We are in a paradox. We are in a paradox. We are at a tipping point in this country. We have to hear what this liar says at 11 o'clock. As he violates all rules, regulations, and laws across the world with our allies and in America at the same time for Russia. And as the Venezuelans buy their weapons from Russia, they will be paying them and giving them the money that Russia has been losing from sanctions for 3 years. And as the regime changes and we find some other way out of this war that has been started, Russia will then take ownership of the oil and or the minerals. And as Trump's son, Don Jr., just became a managing partner in one of the major mineral collection companies in the world, that money will also be funneled to Trump again. Did you know that? The same company that just started in August was given $750 million by this government in loans. Loans that normal companies couldn't get if they had been 10 years in the black. They just started in August. And their job is to mine minerals. They got their big charter from this government in November, and in December, we're taking over oil tanks. And in January, we bombed the whole country, removed the leader, and give the ownership rights to our best friend, Vladimir Putin, who he also has a business deal with. Don Jr., not the man Trump. Did you know that? Did you know that? It's imperative that you watch the channel because I put that on there. The amount of companies that Don Jr. is on the board of now, in which ones that he invested in before he became a board member, that deal with everything that we're talking about here. And as we fight for Russia and do a proxy war to give them money, minerals, and oil, the cutback doesn't go to the American people. It's not America first. The cutback goes to Don Jr. and his orange father, while he laughs at us and takes health care away. While he laughs and his stupid idiot sycophants buy his golden plated watch. While he laughs and the funding for child care is taken away in all 50 states yesterday. And they bomb Venezuela tonight. Make more money for Don Jr. Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump. That's the news. I'll let this play a little bit longer to see if there's anything that they say about that in these places. Because I don't have $1 million team. I'm waiting to hear when they say this stuff. How did I find this out and they haven't?
An incredible development in this, and one that seems to have not have been expected by Venezuelan authorities. We still don't know where President Maduro and his wife will be now. All we know from President Trump's statement is that they were captured and flown out of the country. We have not heard anything from Venezuela about that. But let's look now at who is the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro. A former bus driver and union leader, Nicolas.
The fuck out of here. What is this? What is this? This is not news. We'll go somewhere else. Let's see. Is there anything in Australia about this? Let's go around the world. See what others have to say. Oh, we have the same stories, the same 4 places. Let's see what they say live. Nothing there. Let's go to Euro News. Is there anything going on in the Euro News? Which I think is another subsidiary of a Murdoch company. Oh, yeah, they're doing a debate over there. You guys, good luck with that one. Let's hope that Labor wins. But even then, they're turning on their own people over there, too. I'm going to go to our friends in Ireland. I'm asking questions. I'm hoping that she gets back to me. Let's see what we have in Agenda Free TV. What a debacle. If you've missed it, I've explained this entire thing this entire time.
Oh, that is a plane. There's a plane there, a plane and a helicopter. There's a plane and a helicopter.
The world stage has been changed completely.
This is unbelievable that this has happened.
The world stage has changed. United States is now a full-blown puppet of Russia. United States has now broken the law in America, the law in agreed upon friends via the UN, and the law in international state courts via the Geneva Convention. We have no more allies. Russia is our only ally, and China and North Korea are our only fake friends who will use us, just like Putin has used us, to start another proxy war. This is the state of America in 2026. It's going to get worse before it gets better. People will die. I said it last year. And as our sons go to war in a land that they don't belong, to fight for a freedom that's fake and far flung from the truth by any means. When they come back in the coffins that will display the American flag, it'll all be a reality fucking TV show because it will mean nothing. You might as well put the Russian flag on it. The entire world stability because of these illegal actions by us has changed. The world powers have changed. Tonight, you're watching history. You are an observer of history. Drink it in so you can tell your children when it happened. Drink it in. If I find I'm going to stay live a little bit longer just in case. I want to make sure I'm thorough. But I've told you all you need to know. I've given you the timeline from the Alaska red carpet up until this moment. I've given you the world stage on which this chessboard has been played, which this chess pieces have been played, the board on which we no longer are with the five eyes. We are now the C3 or the C4 as it may be. That means our intelligence comes from the people who we're supposed to be spying on. We no longer share intelligence with Australia, with the UK, with Germany, with France, with Italy. We are now the ones they spy on. We no longer hold that major seat that we coveted for 70 years in the UN. We are now relegated to the Russian puppet. We no longer hold the control that we misused for so many years, but at least it was ours. We are now under Russian control. Don Jr. is the CEO and the board member of every company that will make money from this illegal war started by Vladimir Putin through us as his subsidiaries. And all of that money will go straight to Russia so they can avoid sanctions, to John Jr. so he can buy more cocaine, and to his father so he can die in a golden casket, cankled and rotten from the inside out. And our only choice is to fight back as hard as possible to get new people in place, to ensure that the people who did this go to prison for the rest of their lives. And we can try to rebuild whatever it is we have left of this country as our health care diminishes. And as your child care funding diminishes. And as the education of your children diminishes. And as your paycheck diminishes. And the livelihood of decent, honest, working people diminishes while they lose habeas corpus to fulfill a sick fucking fantasy of a vampire who advises Trump named Stephen Miller, and the pocketbooks of a few billionaires who see you and me as ants. The only thing we have left is the hope that we fight hard enough so when we get it back, they will go to prison for the rest of their lives and their children's lives. And we will never make this fucking mistake again. Good night.